Men. How would you react if you found out someone you were dating had a long sexual history? I would probably do the Macarena. Very smart. I'll try this edit. Did not work, and somehow I'm the one with the expansive sexual experience now? Sounds like it worked as intended. At one point, I had a GF of 5 years. She ended the relationship. 8 months later she returned with regrets and wanted to reconnect. During our first date of reconnect, she admitted to sleeping with 20 plus men during those 8 months. At dinner, I was very forgiving and told her it all happened when we were apart, etc. Later that night, I struggled with it a lot, and in the AM, we parted ways. Ignorance is bliss. May have been better had I not known, but truth does come out eventually. God damn. 20 in 8 months. Sheesh. Like a new guy every other weekend lol. Just constant intentional one night stands. It took her 20 guys to get over op, and even then it didn't work. I'd take that as a compliment. As someone who's dated ops mom, I can confidently say you'd happily wait in a long line to ride that ride. 0. I would be concerned, but for a different reason. Are these 20 different relationships or just a number of one night stands? If it's the later, just use protection just in case. But for the former, then it's a definite red flag. Biggest concern is if they have STDs. I mean, you should be using protection anyway with a new partner and regularly testing, even if a girl tells you she's a virgin. Thank you. This is all silly. Get tested before each partner and make sure to use contraception if you aren't trying to make kids. As long as the history never involved cheating, it wouldn't bother me. Or a STD. Okay, but you can get STDs if your partner cheats on you. I'd be more wary about type of STD or STI, not just whatever or not they've had them. Are they 20 and hitting the club every night, or 50 with a long history of being single? In other words, to me it's not the number, but the stories behind them. Well, mine is way beyond 20, so who the F am I to judge? Edit. 20 is the number op is saying is a lot for a woman, and we should feel some kind of way about. My number is none of anyone's business beyond me and my current GF. I'm not even remotely proud of my number. There's a whole F ton of bad choices and regrets behind it. If you comment about how high your number is 1, I Jeff. 2. I assume you're full of shit. The entire point of my comment is I'm not going to shame or judge a girl for something I've done as well. If you are trying to impress a random dude on Reddit, congratulations, you're sad af, and blocked, you weirdo. 37 in a row. I wasn't even supposed to be here today. This job would be great if it wasn't for the customers. Personally, it would bother me because I'm very careful with people I get intimate with, meaning it has always been in a relationship. If they've had 20 or so relationships, I would see it as someone who jumps from one person to the next and can't be alone to figure themselves out. Again, some people don't mind it, but most are bothered by the idea. Personally, it would bother me because I'm very careful with people I get intimate with, meaning you are an example of a situation I feel it's perfectly fine to have that opinion. You are merely applying the same standards to a potential romantic partner you apply to yourself. If you are a dude that racked up a body count, or at least would if you could, but only value women as relationship material that maintain their chastity, you're in a shat. If you hold others to a higher standard than yourself, you're in a shat. However, it's okay to desire someone you're romantically involved with to share a similar lifestyle as you. I guess it depends on your age and lifestyle, but the older you get, 20 people isn't many. This, if you're 40, became sexually active at 20, have been with 20 people. That's one person per year. That's hardly an issue in my book. Now if you're 20, been sexually active since 17, and have been with 20 people, there may be some underlying issues there. There's nothing inherently wrong with being sexually active. Just be safe and honest with your partners. A single slutty/lucky semester can add up quickly, and most people have a phase like that, and that's perfectly fine. Experimenting with different people is the most normal thing in the world for someone in their early 20s. Can confirm. Went from Tabodis to 15 in my first semester at college. Running through P like you're the weekend is fun in the short term, But when you've gone home with 5 different people in 2 weeks and none of them will text you back the next day, it starts to take a toll on your mental health. It used to be something I bragged about, but now looking back I've racked up this huge body count, but haven't had any kind of meaningful relationship since high school, and it just makes me feel bad now. Doesn't it also depend on age of person and circumstances? If 40 years old, 25 partners is different than someone who is 20. Not that it's bad, but circumstances surrounding judgment, etc. would be different. 25 at 40 is still way above average according to studies, the upper quartile, if not within the top 5% sexual partners by quantity at that age. I have history too. Not bothered at all. This is a mindset I want to have. Minus the having a history thing. I guess for me it never comes up in my relationships. Are you clean? Then it doesn't matter. I think the issue here is less about their number and more about yours. 20 is a small number for some and a huge one for others. So I can only answer your question with the question. Does their experience make you feel inexperienced or like you have a problem? Another way to look at it is, if they were with 1k people and it's you they want, what does that say about how they feel about you? Or if you are the only person they have been with, do you feel like you are less likely to be their last? Or are you afraid you won't live up to a standard? I have high number. I'm also a bisexual. So I have been with women, other men, everything in between. So I find the most critical tend to be men with lower numbers. And I have a theory that this has to do with society and how on a societal level we only value men or women for virility. Yet we unfortunately live in a society that put a ton of value in gender roles. What is a man if he isn't virile? What is a woman if they are a etc? I suggest you focus less on the number and what qualities they possess that got them to you in the first place. People value sex differently. It's not wrong to want a low partner count person. You just shouldn't be shaming people for it. It's an easy fix. Our beliefs in the meaning of sex don't seem to align, so I don't think we are a good match. I have a Reddit defined high body count and some women don't like that about me. I don't hold that against them, and I think it is a valid reason for not wanting to be with me. I have also been a woman second with that high body count, and it didn't bug her at all. Just don't be a damn hypocrite and expect all people to have low or high counts. It's mostly the hypocritical thing that causes debate here. No one cares if you're a dude who has slept with 3 women and you prefer a woman with her count lower than 5. It gets misogynistic when you hit a one night stand every weekend, but say you won't wife a woman with count over 20. It's disgusting they feel entitled to that double standard, as if sex somehow stains her but not them. I mean, that would be completely expected, since I'm in my 30s. 20 plus is not enough partners at that age to get me to raise an eyebrow. If the number was much higher than that, like 50 plus, then the most important thing becomes the reason why some people sleep around, because of deep insecurities or sexual trauma, or because they can't commit to anyone. I'd like to know if any of those are applicable. When you think about it, by 40 most people are going to have 10 plus years of sexual activity under their belt. Who cares about their number? If they are true to your relationship, who cares what made them the person who could be true to you? It's really not even anything that you should ask a partner after a certain age. It might matter at 22 in your head, but at 32 or 42 it's really meaningless. Imo. If a person practiced safe sex in those previous encounters, it shouldn't matter. However, I can understand if someone was dating another person and their personal sexual history wasn't similar, and it bothered either person. For example, person A has been with 20 plus people. Person B has been with under 10 people. I can understand person B being uncomfortable etc. because of societal norms, personal preference, sexual health fears etc. Overall, if something like that is bothering a person, an honest conversation is needed. Bruh, I ain't dating a girl who held hands with another man before. The number isn't of concern. The reason behind the number is more of the issue for some guys. A higher number can be an indicator of a lifestyle/worldview that some men don't align with. Like, all jokes aside, I'd rather not ask or be asked about my sexual past with my new partner. Man. None of my business. As long as they are not racking up a body count while we are together as well. I'm a relationship sex person, not a casual sex person. So I'd be interested whether her 20 plus partners were casual or relationships. If she's had 20 plus casual partners, I'd then be interested whether she is still just adding notches to her bedpost or settling down. And if settling down, whether her past is truly and safely in the past. If she's had 20 plus relationships, I'd be concerned that she too easily gives her heart away, and whether I'm just the next future ex. Also, I'm 61, so I expect counts in the double digits anyway. Personally, I would not be with her. Consider your own sexual history. I found it's better just not to ask and love that person in the present. Like, I don't even know how many women I've slept with over the last 23 years of being sexually active. Furthermore, I wouldn't want to know how many men dick down my partner because it's not relevant. I'm okay just leaving that topic out of the discussion. Interpersonal relationships are wacky. The question has different connotations depending on the reasoning as to why it's asked. If it's due to some image of a chaste ideal mate, it's probably a big deal. If it's to help create expectations for Nookie, it's probably not. I like your style, but I'm a weirdo that wants to know everything down to what your favorite snack was during 2nd grade. The love that person in the present bit is the important part. I mean, my girlfriend loved cinnamon graham crackers, but I'm willing to put that aside and love her now because of the person that she is. If Op thinks it's a problem, it's a problem. Op could probably do some introspection to see why it's thought to be a problem and decide if it is or isn't for themselves. Honestly, regardless of the number, there's gonna almost always be other people besides you. And for her, there were others before her. You'd end up comparing yourself to the others regardless of what the number is. Personally, I wouldn't want to know. At the end of the day, it is what it is, and you can't change it, so stop letting it eat you alive. If you like them, then you like them. And if they are not an immature idiot, they won't judge you for inexperience. Some people actually think inexperience is hot. Ask girls. Plenty of them will tell you the hookups were bad anyway. Dudes looking to hook up jaff about the girl. They just care about getting laid. So even if it's 5 or 20 or 10, the odds of it being good are sadly not that high for women. The orgasm gap is so real. You care because you're feeling like you can't compare, and also cause society conditions men to shame. Either way, it is what it is, so you're just driving yourself crazy trying to control something that already happened. So don't keep focusing on something like that. I find promiscuity unappealing, so I wouldn't consider a long-term relationship. Same here. Let's not act like most people aren't put off by a high body count. IDK what these guys are going on about. Hoping a promiscuous woman will read their post and then have sex with them. Duh, right. Impossible that men can be promiscuous themselves and feel kinda judged in this thread. I'd be gone honestly. I don't care if people look down on me for it, but I find 20 plus to be a red flag. Same. This question gets asked a lot, and every time it's the same general sentiment. Most men usually care about promiscuity. Some don't. Personally, I would not want a partner with a large sexual history of different partners. To me, it means either you don't want a relationship or you can't keep a relationship. Neither of those warrant me keeping you around. Op, there is nothing wrong for caring about it, and don't let somebody else tell you otherwise. Everyone has their preferences. It could also mean that they may have, or had, a drinking problem. That's usually the issue that I've seen, at least. Here are several factors to consider. 1. Was it just casual sex or formal relationships? 2. Age. It is not the same 20 at 18 years and at 40. 3. This hypothetical person took care against STDs. Sure, there are more factors, but I would probably be happy because you will probably have a better performance in sex. Imagine being the last one. Must be a special person with confidence and love. Hard to get over if you haven't had a long history yourself, but as long as their list stops at you and doesn't keep running up the numbers, nothing to worry about. Doesn't matter who they've been with before me. If you like to have sex, good for you. I like it too. If you're someone who's a prude about sex, then of course knowing about someone's history will bother you. There is a reason why women aren't completely honest about their body count or lie. If it didn't matter, then they would be more honest or open about it. It's a lot easier for women to get sex, since they decide who they sleep with. It becomes questionable when they have tons of partners. For a man it means he's desirable, since women want to sleep with him. Some people may not care or say they don't care. Plenty of people in this world, so someone will accept you for who you are. I remember reading some study where men's physical attractiveness as rated by women correlated with the number of partners they had. With women, their physical attractiveness as rated by men wasn't a determining factor for the number of partner they had. In fact, the ones rated less had slightly more partners on average. So your conclusion does add up.